Hari Om to all the Atmajyotis, divine light of the self. Welcome to this special session of Dharma Kshetra. We are discussing the very critical section in chapter 3, which is who is the doer? And we have landed in verse 27, which says Prakriti is the doer. And so to understand this more, we have with us Rahul Ravindran, who is going to give us a scientific picture from the perspective of science and psychology. But before that, let us start with a prayer. I invite Suma to go ahead with the prayer.
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वमनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णः खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तक केशवः पराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरहः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुल्लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्म वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपत्क्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यै योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। हरि ओम्.
Hari Om, Suma. Thank you. So until Rahul is free, we will discuss what we know about this Prakrute Kriyamanani Gunai Sarvani Karmashaha Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. So we are being told that you are not the doer, Prakriti is the doer. Prakriti andre the gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and everything in the universe is guna only. Without the gunas, there is no manifest jagat at all. So I have a little anecdote to share with you. How important. See, we tend to discuss as Advaitins, we tend to discuss, oh, this manifest world is mithya, maya. Don't give it importance. And we have songs like, this body is, mule, mamsa, ignore it. And all these ideas have been, we kind of develop over some time especially when we are doing Advaita Vedanta. Is it true or not? We tend to dismiss the world as, it gives you it's a problematic world. It takes you away from God. Then, you're drowning in misery in the world. All these ideas we have. So a little tweaking of that is required. So I came across a beautiful anecdote of how, okay, Shiva was giving jnana to us, to sages, about, he was giving this jnana of what is the purpose of life and what is my real self. He was giving a little jnana, and Parvati was sitting on his lap, and then he was giving jnana. And then Devata called Vrittasura was flying over, was passing by, and he saw the Shiva was giving jnana with Parvati on his lap, and Vrittasura mocked him. Oh, ho, ho, ho. He's having his wife on his lap. You call this man as a Jagat Guru, Adi Yogi? He made such a mockery of it, and he went. So Parvati, of course, was immediately, she was furious, and she cursed him. And then he became a Rakshasa, and there goes the story. But the point is, what does Parvati sitting on Shiva's lap indicate? So, any ideas? What is the metaphor? What is the metaphor of Parvati sitting on Shiva's lap when she is giving jnana? Enappa. What is Shiva and what is Parvati? Here you can bring in. Yes.
Shiva is Purusha, right?
Correct.
Parvati is like Prakriti.
Haudu.
So,
Correct. They are inseparable. Shiva and Shakti are inseparable. Shiva cannot do anything without Shakti, and Shakti is powerless without Shiva. You appreciate that such beauty over there, it's impossible. The Chaitanya is nothing without that Prakriti is the vehicle through which he operates, and Prakriti is useless unless she is powered by Chaitanya. So that's the metaphor. And this whole Jagat, what we tend to dismiss as Maya, Mithya, and misery, it's actually the Divine Mother. We need to worship her. We need to understand and worship this manifest universe. So what we are trying to do today is understand. So Prakriti is the doer. It is powered by Chaitanya. So where do I come into the picture? This miserable, jaded, faded Jiva. Where do I come into the picture? This is the conundrum, isn't it? The world is not causing me problem. It is this little Jiva which is coming up and saying, I'm the doer, which is the problem. So we'll try to understand with Rahul. I shall give you the rights to, whatever host and all that. Make a co-host madla.
I just need to share screen, Esther.
Yeah. And I shall spotlight you for everyone, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right.
Share my screen. Is it visible? Okay.
Yeah, it is visible, Rahul. Very interesting visuals coming up. Yeah, you carry on.
Sure. Om Guru Brahma Devo Maheshwarah Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Narayana Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Namaste to everyone. Thank you very much for giving me this space, especially Purnimaji. Thank you so much for giving me this time and space to share whatever I was able to consolidate for another session that I did at my company. So again, I would request as much as interaction as possible. Prati slide allo and question itte. So please do share your thoughts. Okay, this is not Like the final thing we all know, we've all attended sessions with Prabhuji also. A lot of my understanding is from Prabhuji's teachings as well. So, and I've tried to consolidate from other scriptures also. So, yeah, I'd like to begin by asking you all, what do you see out of this image, Illy? So, you see a brain, there's an apple tree, there's a cactus also. ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಈ ಇಮೇಜ್ ನೋಡುವಾಗ?
It has both good and bad in our mind.
Absolutely, yeah. ಒಂದು proverb ನೆನಪಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು, a very common proverb which is there across all religions. Seed haki. So they say, as we sow, so shall we reap.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So ಯಾವ ಬೀಜ ನೆಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So now can I say an apple tree is good and a cactus is bad? Because cactus is a plant on which camels or other desert animals survive. So can we make a judgment that cactus is bad? So again, we're trying to discuss eventually that there is no good karma or bad karma. There is only karma. Another. So the underlying factor I get kondu, we'll try to explore what exactly happens in the biology and neuroscientifically about karma, because the Prakriti Kriyamanani and Shloka will be the central focus for the explanation neuroscientifically. Then explore madala. So I'd like to again start off with the discussion Indian sessions and before we can understand what karma is. I think we should all be very clear as to what dharma is. So if I can ask you all, what is your understanding of the word dharma? What does dharma really mean? Dhareti iti dharmaha, dharana, dharma ityahu, Sanskrit definitions alla ide. What exactly is dharma? Again, there are no right or wrong answers. This is all contemplation only. So please share your thoughts. What is dharma?
I would say duty. Sorry, go ahead.
No. All of you pitch in, please. That's
righteousness.
Righteousness is the closest translated word English nalli tagondirodu. So we'll discuss why righteousness is not the best word for dharma, and then we'll see in the coming slides.
Shweta also wanted to share something about dharma. Shweta?
Yes,
no, I was just going to say it's nothing but duty, right? Righteousness or duty.
Duty. Okay.
Yeah, just to uphold one's duty, whether you in any circumstances to uphold the duty is what dharma is.
Okay. So
sorry, my voice is really bad today.
Sorry?
Moral order or something.
Moral order. Okay. Moral order. Nice. Okay. Anything else?
More inputs, please.
Any thoughts or actions that sync with the nature.
Oh, very nice. I like that. Okay. That are in sync with nature. Very nice. So we'll explore. So most of it that you said, absolutely everything is right. So that which ought to be done. Anta ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಧಾರೇತಿ ಇತಿ ಧರ್ಮಃ or ಧಾರಣಾತ್ ಧರ್ಮಃ ಇತ್ಯಾಹು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ that which ought to be done or that which ought to be upheld ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ, this is what the scriptures say. So there are two conditions apply that I realized when I went through at least 7 religions I tried to study. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Sikhism also, and Buddhism and Jainism. So all of them pretty much speak the same thing. So there are two conditions apply for something to be called dharma. The first thing is dharma it is species specific. Anta one realization aitu. It is as per the species. So each living species has its own different dharma. And the second one, I can't see the names of those who are speaking when I'm sharing the screen. You mentioned about an order, nature, the order, alva. I think that was one thing that's repeated again, while maintaining a cosmic equilibrium. So ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದು ನೇಚರ್, ದ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ, ದ equilibrium ನ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ, ಎನ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್, am I maintaining the equilibrium? Even if I'm not improving it, in fact, improving the state of the cosmos is also disturbing the equilibrium, by the way. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಈಕ್ವಿಲಿಬ್ರಿಯಂ ಇಂದ ಆಚೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಈಕ್ವಿಲಿಬ್ರಿಯಂ ನ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಧರ್ಮ was the sort of understanding that I got with multiple religions. So let's try to explore this. So here you see an insect. Can you identify what insect this is and what is its dharma?
Looks like a bee, actually.
It is a bee.
Its dharma is to extract the essence from the flower and go make honey.
Make honey. Besides that, there is a very important thing that it is doing.
It's the karma of bees to keep working, right? Is that what you're initiating?
Thereby doing what? It is contributing to nature massively.
Pollination.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. The fine hair-like structure on its body, it traps those pollen seeds. One flower in the inner flower, it helps in transporting, and thereby the reproduction of plants are happening. So we can imagine what will happen to a world when all the honeybees are removed. Ella honeybeena ನಾನು remove ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ what will happen to the earth? In fact, Sadhguru speaks in one of his speeches. Yeah, I think the world will survive only for a couple of weeks. I think 8 weeks. 8 weeks.
There's a movie about it, Rahul. Have you seen it?
Oh no! What is the name?
It's called the Bee Movie. It's a kids movie, actually. Jerry Seinfeld is a bee in it. It's a really nice. You're right. The world will come to a halt. There's no cross pollination happening, and then the day we will be out of oxygen. That's
absolutely. So we can see how useful and how dharmic a bee is. How ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯಿಂದ ಅದರ ಕರ್ಮ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. So we'll see next. So the image looks a little disgusting, but what do you identify this as?
So this some insect is being devoured, dead.
It's actually a snake. Snake. Yeah, a dead snake being devoured by ants.
Correct.
So ants, the dharma enil.
Scavenger.
They're scavengers. So they're helping in the decomposition of the dead bodies also. So again, the same question: what will happen to the earth if all the ants are removed? We can see that there is an equilibrium disturbance in the cosmos that's happening, or in the earth at least, that's happening if I remove one insect. Let's look at this. These four fellows. Thanks to ChatGPT for creating this image. So what are their dharma? We have a lion, a tiger, a leopard, a cheetah, and a leopard. Your girl dharma. Of course, in the background you can also see some buffaloes and some deers also. E Nalek heroes, what are their dharma? In what way are they maintaining an equilibrium?
They are part of the food chain.
They're part of the food chain. So we always see that
balance in nature, right? Because
absolutely. They're balancing it. Yeah. So if these predatory animals are not there, then the deers and wild buffalo population will go completely out of control. And again, vegetation will get disturbed. So these four or the other predatory animals are maintaining that equilibrium there. So that is their dharma. What do you identify this as, and what is its dharma?
So these are the earthworms, actually.
Earthworms, yes.
Yeah, without them, the soil won't be rich in the nutrition and the plants.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So they're continuously nourishing the soil, and because of their movement through the soil, they're keeping the soil aerated. Air pores na create madi. There is enough air in the soil because of them. So again, if I remove all the earthworms from earth, what happens to earth? We know there is a severe equilibrium disturbance that will happen. So of course I can keep going on. So here you see scavengers again, like hyenas or vultures. Their job is to, whatever is remaining, scavengers, they eat what is left behind. So what has already been killed, adanna khali ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So they are also cleaning up. Just like, okay, tinde tatten wash ಮಾಡಿಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಇವ್ರದ್ದು. So they're maintaining an equilibrium in their own way. So a frog eating insects in stagnant waters, so wherever so they're maintaining their equilibrium. So a whale shark or a whales, eating krill and plankton within oceans. So, whether we want to take the air or earth or water, everywhere there is a particular equilibrium that is being maintained by these animals. So, of course, trees also have its own dharma of absorbing carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. The water cycle is happening, so this has its own dharma. So there is water evaporating, becoming clouds, falling down as rain, and getting back to the oceans and rivers. So one dharma automatically nadita hai. It is even happening at a macro scale when you look at the solar system itself. Every particular planet is in such a perfect precision placement within the solar system that it doesn't either fall into the sun or it doesn't fly away from the solar system also. So, in fact, young Sheldon, the Big Bang Theory, the prequel, young Sheldon and a serial ali. Sheldon, the little boy called Sheldon, he's an atheist. And he mentions, although that if Earth was some 1% closer to Sun, it would fall into the Sun. If it was some 0.00 something 1% slightly away from the Sun, then it would fly away out of the solar system. So it is placed in such a perfect spot within the solar system that it is not either falling or flying away. So it is following its dharma. All planets are following its dharma of rotating and revolving. At a microscopic level, even the atoms are following its own dharma. The and neutrons are together, protons and neutrons ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ bind together, and there are the electrons also doing its dharma of revolving around them and keeping a whole atom stable. Other dharma ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So if I had to ask you, which thing or what thing is the can you even think of a single animal in the entire world which is adharmic? An animal or an insect or whatever it is, can you think of something which is adharmic? Other dharma ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Humans, I think.
Thank you so much. There we are. So, thank you so much. So, we are the only ones who have the choice of doing adharma. So, that is what probably makes us a little unique from all the animals. So, yeah. So, I think a human being and the being word in English grammar is present continuous tense. So, we are not called human was or human will be. We are called human being. So as long as I'm being human, only then I am being a human being. So am I really being a human being? And on the constant question we'll have to keep asking ourselves regularly. So yeah. So difference basically in dharma between animals and humans and the animals only dharma is instinct and humans dharma is chosen. And animals don't have any ethical conflict because there is no contemplation of the actions happening there. But humans only, there is an ethical struggle that comes into picture. Animals, again, no adharma is possible because that sort of a wiring is not there in its neurologically, or even if we take it philosophically also. Adharma mada on the wiring illa alli, but humans alli there is the possibility of adharma to be done. Animals only, there is no karmic guilt again because it didn't perform anything with with awareness. It didn't do it. Humans only, there is consciousness and awareness of what is being done. So karma will bind. So we'll go further with that. So one single line animal dharma sustains the species, but whereas human dharma sustains the civilization itself. So that is how we are more responsible, or we are supposed to be more responsible. So that will lead us to the question, so what is karma? So again, taking a pause and asking what is the definition or what is your understanding of what is karma? Standing of
any action is karma. Yes, Anu, Suma, carry on.
Karma is the results of one action. Like the results can be immediate, or you'll see the karma like later after some time.
Okay. Anything else?
I would say it like go ahead. Sorry, Anu. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say it's like the cosmic law is dharma. Karma is more like a universal law where the Newton's, like, everything has a cause and effect, right? Newton's third law. Every action has a equal and opposite reaction, or equal reaction or opposite. It could be either, right?
Okay.
So for me, I don't know, karma and Newton's third law goes hand in hand.
Newton's third law. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So that's for me.
Okay. Anything else?
I think most of them covered. I feel that same action and its consequences, because every action has a reaction, and the consequences depends on what type of karma we are bringing in future or carry forward or something.
Okay. Absolutely. So that which is performed, dharma is that which ought to be performed. Karma is that which is performed. So all the answers that you said, thank you so much for sharing that. So there was something very interesting that I actually found, especially through Buddhism, actually. So really, when we take a mere action being performed, for example, the session start agidinda, or ever since we woke up, or throughout our life, we've been breathing, right? Sometimes we may yawn, and we have been blinking all our life. Sometimes when we have a discomfort, we cough also. Will that be karma, Anta? So that was also an action, but Buddhism actually terms that as kriya. Okay, so kriya is the fundamental action that happened. So we'll try to understand what then is karma, right? So kriya, it involves memory with momentum. So there is a memory, genetic memory, to be a little more specific, right? So for example, I'll quote reflex action when you touch something hot. On iron box na bisiyagira iron box na muttadaga kai pattanta tegitivi. Closing your eyes and covering your face when you hear a blast or a loud noise, or scratching a part of your body that suddenly, kachdaga, right? So sneezing when there is a dust particle in your nose, all of these things. So all these things, they don't become karma. They're more called kriyas. So kriya refers to actions that occur without volition, craving, aversion, and ignorance. So these 4 words will be very important for us to explore as we go further. Volition is your ability to have free will. That is the meaning of the word volition. So, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ volition, free will or craving or aversion, ignorance nadita ಇಲ್ಲ. It is happening as a bodily memory. The memory is an action. So that is why it's called memory with momentum. So therefore, they do not generate karma phala. So karmic results barola. So they are biologically or mechanically driven movements. Rather, they're not ethically charged ones, right? So neuroscience prakara, there are 3 things. There is one called the spinal reflex loop, like this reflex action of touching a hot thing. Autonomic nervous system activities, which is your breathing, mouth also, when you see food, the salivation that happens, your digestion, excretion, all of these things. Even Guruji, Prabhuji, he beautifully explained during Atmadarshana about how a child is born in the womb, or how the child grows in the womb. The child is not yours in a discussion bandaga. The question that he was asking, did you decide how much of magnesium and calcium and proteins should go to your embryo? ನೀವು decide ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ ಅಂತ when he asked a mother, it was a very highly stirring thought process. So we are not really in control of it, right? So most of the things that are happening in my body, pretty much more than 95% of the things that we think we are doing right now is not karma. It actually becomes kriya, right? Most of you right now, if you're sitting right now, the posture in which you're sitting right now, did you choose, or do you think your body chose it? 99% of the time, your body would have chosen it. If you're sitting on an armed chair, maybe if you place your hand on your elbow on the armrest, or the one table hatra ಕೂತಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೈನ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅದು ನೀವು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ಈ 37-degree ಆಂಗಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾನು keep my leg on one on top of the other. You really didn't decide. So your body took over. So those things will pretty much be called as kriya and not karma, right? So, and subcortical survival responses is, cortex is the front portion of the brain. You have the prefrontal cortex and other ಕೆಳಗೆ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ portion ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have something called the amygdala, limbic system ಅಂತನೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. So that is the fight or flight response ಮಾಡೋ part of the brain. So it's also called as the reptilian brain also. Imagine like a lizard. Okay, what does a lizard do? Does a lizard have any ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ choices ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ? It just survives. Right? Starting from dinosaurs also, which were lizards, they were just surviving. It was either fight back or fly away from that situation. So all of those things, fight or flight response, which happened without my knowledge, none of them qualify to be karma. That was a addition to my understanding also. So karma is action. What is extra now compared to kriya? Is karma is action performed with memory and intention or awareness. So intention or awareness, none choice. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಕರ್ಮ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ವಾಸ್ ದ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಪುಟ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್. Right? So a thought or action charged with desire, aversion, ignorance, or wisdom becomes karma. Right? So ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೋತಿ ಇತಿ ಕರ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. Buddhism ಅಲ್ಲಿ in the Buddha's suttas ಅಲ್ಲಿ he says chetanaham bhikkhave kammam vadami, where chetana is choice or intention and awareness. So only when there is an intention or awareness in that particular action, only then kammam vadami, I proclaim that to be as karma, and that is what Buddha mentions in his sutras. So that was my understanding here. So now, before I get into further neuroscience, just taking a pause. Any questions or any thoughts? Does this make sense that karma is not action? Was the moral of the story? Karma is not just action. Karma is action with intention. Was the understanding? So, any thoughts or any questions?
Yes. In the Gita, Krishna says you cannot sit even a moment without karma. He does not distinguish between karma and kriya. Because everything that's happening in your body is kriya only / karma. He says, I'm just saying he doesn't use the word kriya, so this is good. Finding fault with it, but every karma antane Bhagavanta
karma. So now, if I have to take a hypothetical situation, for example, if I stepped on somebody's toe by mistake, right? So, sorry. And I was not even aware of it. Sorry, yeah. Okay. So if I stepped on somebody's toe by mistake, and I was absolutely not aware, but the person suffered, will I suffer karma phala? That was.
I was the judge. I would say no, unintentional.
It was unintentional, alva? So I mean, nam dinanitya na nadi one kadinda innan kade nadivaga there may be dozens of ants that we are killing, we are stepping on and we are killing. Adralli ellರದು karma phala ನನಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ. So if we look at it then ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇಳಿಯಕ್ಕೂ ನಮಗೆ ಭಯ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಏನನ್ನು ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನೋ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So is there an intention with which I'm doing this, and then it becomes karma? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ it remains kriya ಅನ್ನೋದು it was sort of a liberating thing to understand, right? Because I'll take some examples later on, including Dasharatha killing Shravana Kumara, right? So him getting separated from Rama, or rather Rama getting separated from Dasharatha, was that because Dasharatha killed Shravana Kumara, or was it because Shravana Kumara's parents cursed him?
It was the curse. It was the kartrutva, bhoktrutva of those guys.
So we'll try to discuss that towards the end. Questions like those. If I hurt somebody unintentionally, I mean, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನೋ hurt ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, or maybe I stepped on their toe, like I said, will I still experience karma phala for it? We'll discuss that, as we go further. Okay. So coming into the neuroscience part, karma as memory in action antatovaga. So memory is the stored patterns from past experiences. So this memory is nan huttadaginda, ever since I came out of my mother's womb, what all has been entering my brain and what all is getting stored as memories, that is also there. And what all my ancestors have passed on to me through their genes is also there within me. So nobody taught me how to breathe. Nobody taught me how to secrete saliva in my mouth. Heng blink ಮಾಡುದು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. It was just there. That memory was just there, and it's just happening, and it was genetic memory. Action is coming in the second place, which is behavior emerging because of those patterns. So I have certain genetic memory within me, and when it comes into play, it becomes action. And then there is awareness, because it is karma. So awareness illandre it is kriya, is the understanding. The moment awareness comes, the awareness is the capacity to observe, modulate, or interrupt those patterns also. ಸೊ ಏಕಾದಶಿ ದಿನ ನನಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಟಾಪ್ ಫೇವ್ರೆಟ್ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಬಾಡಿಲಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಬಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೆಟಿಂಗ್ that happen. I'm choosing to interrupt the pattern, the bodily pattern which is already there. So karma is not fate, but it is conditioned momentum. So what happens when stored impressions are expressed without or with awareness? So science again doesn't use the word karma either. So what we can say is karma is not just the behavior really. Karma is about the authorship or the ownership. The kartaham iti manyate anta, the what Purnimaji shared in the shloka, we'll explore that also. So only when the mind says that I choose or I am the doer, karma is born. Everything else in life is just happening, including the examples of blinking my eyes or breathing or digestion, me growing as a person, or my every cell of mine aging. These are all just happening. So I'm not in control. Only when I say I am choosing, I am the doer, only karma is being born. This is part one. Right? So some examples, let's imagine a child grows up being criticized frequently. Continuously it is criticized for everything it does. So when it becomes an adult, the child starts feeling anxious when they receive even a neutral feedback also. Neutral feedback, the criticism it will start taking, because it has become a pattern in its life. Right? So they can either react automatically, which becomes, defensive, or they can become very withdrawn because the parents have continuously been criticizing in its childhood. Or with awareness, with learning, and with emotional maturity, the child can start noticing the reaction and respond consciously. Right? So what is happening there? The memory of criticism is acting in the present. Criticism happened in the past, but it is experiencing that in the present also. And that becomes karma in motion. Okay, right? So please feel free to stop me anywhere if you want to maybe ask a question or add a point. Please feel free to stop. Right? So moving on, second point again. Neuroscience, if we try to understand karma as neural conditioning, right? Neural is the neurons in the brain cells are called neurons. So what is happening there? So memory is stored as neural pathways, right? So ಈಗ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ when we are getting exposed to a new input, there is a certain so like you can see here this sentence which says cells that fire together wire together, right? So neuron, you can let's imagine first time the child is out of the mother's womb, and when the mother is holding the child, the first things on magu, let's imagine in a hospital, the baby has come out of the mother's womb. What are the first sensory input that the child has? The five sense organs. Yeah.
Hunger.
Hunger is there. So sensory input. If you took the five sense organs, eyes, nose, tongue. Touch. First is touch. The mother holds. Yeah. What else? In sense ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ.
Warmth. I mean, I think that's related to touch.
Yes. Warmth with the skin. Once again, touch. Yes. Absolutely. What
Sight
else?
also.
Sight also. Kandinda the tube light is there. It sees the light. It sees the mother's face close by.
But I was told they can't see, so that's why I didn't say sight.
It is blurred. It is blurred. Yeah. So until I think 6 months, it can only see up to 2 feet. That's why they say even
first reaction, crying.
Smell, absolutely. The mother's scent. It'll cry.
And actually the prana kicks in only, like, it'll start breathing. The lungs will start operating first.
Lungs will start operating. Yeah. So the nose. So all sense organs operate. It starts getting activated. So now when it sees its mother for the first time, it sees it as a blurred image. So 2 feet tanka matra ant heltare, the vision of until it's 6 months old. That's why they say until the child is 6 months old, even if you're feeding the child with a feeding bottle, please hold the baby in your arms only and feed it, because the mother still has the child still has to see the face of the mother. So for it to build that connection, sumne feeding bottle kottbit hogbidbedi. So the first time it sees its mother, there are the mother's facial features. It becomes a sensory input to the child, and it enters the brain as an image. So 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, every time it starts seeing its mother, a mother ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂರಲ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದರ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್, and instantly when it sees its mother, it will see the eyes proportion higide, the nose e position ide, this is my mother. And the identification starts because a certain set of neurons have clustered together in its brain. Right. That is why when another lady picks up the child will start crying because the neural pattern recognition agli. So it's like you're trying to unlock a phone with your facial recognition. The phone doesn't get unlocked because it didn't recognize the pattern. So the baby is also recognizing patterns. So next it hears its mother speaking continuously. So the mother's voice becomes a cluster in its brain, or certain neurons will come there. The mother's scent, that becomes a cluster in its brain. So everything is becoming clusters in its brain. So lumps of neurons, right? So adinene now, what is mind anta kelvagleno, a mind is a bundle of thoughts anta. When Prabhuji also beautifully explained what mind is alva. So when a bundle of thoughts come together, it becomes the mind anta heluvaga. In neuroscience, a bundle of neurons becomes the brain, right? So abstract agi, a bundle of thoughts are becoming the mind. Neuroscientifically, a bundle of neurons is becoming the brain. So if you see, our brain also has lumps, alva. So it's not smooth. It's got a lot of uneven structures because each bump there is one piece of information which we have received through sensory input. Okay, so I don't want to get into too much details silly. So if you want to look at it, so past actions will lead to neural patterns, and those neural patterns will lead to future tendencies. Like I said, mother na nodi amma nodi, the baby will start identifying, this is amma, this is appa, this is tata. So it is starting to identify. So what we repeatedly think, feel, or do becomes the brain's default response. Right. So you become what you think about most of the time. Yeah, Shweta ji, please. Think you raised your hand.
Yeah, Rahulji, there is also one movie, Inside and Out.
Inside Out. Beautiful movie.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie. In that
Yeah.
movie also they talk about this, neurons and on
ಹೌದು
brain, about how
ಹೌದು
the
ಮಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಚ್. ನನಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ
yeah,
ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಆ ಮೂವಿನ ನಾನು. ಸೊ
that's true. That's true.
ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎವ್ರಿ
movie,
ಚೈಲ್ಡ್
right? Pixar
inside
movie.
2 parts, the part 1 and part 2. If a child is at least 6th standard and above, I would highly recommend the parents please watch the movie along with your children. A movie na Inside Out, part 1 and part 2. They've explained each emotion as one character living inside the head. So anger is one tiny character, happiness, joy is one separate character, sadness is another character. So how they take charge of the brain another ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Shwetaji. Yeah. So yes, so moving further, so memory stored as neural pathways again, repeated experiences strengthen specific neural circuits, making certain reactions default. So ನನಗೆ ನನ್ನ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ, for example, or if my father is a very very angry person most of the time, ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ನಾನು ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ಪ ಕುಪ್ಸ್ಕೋತಾರೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ಪ ಕುಪ್ಸ್ಕೋತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂರಾನ್ಸ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಅನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ತನೋ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟೇ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ. So my understanding will continue outside the house also. So it was first time when I have a manager, when I join a company for the first time, I'll assume, ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ಕುಪ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು, ಸೊ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಕುಪ್ಸ್ಕೋತಾರೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಮೈ ನೇಚರ್, ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಫಾಲ್ಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್. So you again, example, you repeatedly scroll social media when you're stressed. So over time, stress bandre phone etkobeku anta agbidutte. And phone noಡಿದಾಗ the scrolling becomes automatic. So even before you realize I should stop looking at the phone, I would have already watched some 20 reels. So, and one day stress arises and your hand reaches for the phone even before you decide. I'd like to ask this slightly out of topic, but how many times often do you think we actually pick up the phone to see whether notifications bandide ilva anta nodakke? Anybody has an idea what is the global statistics? How often we pick up the phone?
It must be a scary number.
Once in a minute or twice a minute?
Yeah. So the global statistics that was done in 2025 is once in 4 minutes. So global statistics prakara, every 4 minutes once, whether there is a notification or not. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಪಿಂಗ್ ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು once in 4 minutes we look at the phone, which technically means in 1 hour we picked up the phone 15 times. ಅಲ್ವಾ? So 10 hours of the day ಅಲ್ಲಿ 150 times we picked up the phone whether or not there was a notification. So now do you think you really did it or your body took over, right? So muscle memory ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ for me to pick up the phone. So now was that karma or kriya? We'll have to keep contemplating that also, right? Yeah. So
Rahulji, this Shweta,
yeah,
it's
please.
almost like Pavlov's dog's theory,
Conditioning,
right?
operant conditioning.
So I think that's what's happening with all of us. With our
ಹೌದೌದು. So at least Pavlov's conditioning ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ನ್ ಬೆಲ್ ರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ is when the dog started salivating, right? ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ನನ್ನ ಫೋನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಗೆ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಐ ಪಿಕ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಫೋನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನಿಂಗ್. ಯಾ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಕಂಪಲ್ಷನ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಕಂಪಲ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ ಟು ಪಿಕ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಫೋನ್. So that is, I think I'm assuming there are a lot of young parents also here, including me. That is how much we should be conscious when we are giving devices to children. All right. So
again, this children pick up looking at the adults, alva. I mean, we have to be conscious.
No, absolutely. We are role models for them. Absolutely. We have to walk the talk. Yeah. So,
yeah, sorry, that's what I was going to add. More than anything, we should make sure we are not with phones when we are with them.
Absolutely. Because children will start thinking that is normal. So
yes, correct.
ನಾನು ದೊಡ್ಡವನಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಈ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ನ ಕೈಲಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಅಂತ it becomes like an assumption. Yeah. True. So yes. So moving further. So thank you for adding in your thoughts. Thank you so much. Yeah. So again, action without awareness, it becomes automatic karma or kriya, if you want to call it. So most human behavior, most of what we do, it's either predictive or it is habitual or it is emotionally primed. Okay. If I have to ask all of you, ನೀವು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ let's assume you go to work. Okay. Let's assume you are working either as a homemaker or you go to a company to work. So ನೀವು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ, if we have to assume a sequence of you doing your tasks, okay, ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ first thing, let's assume you go brush your teeth, and then you answer nature's calls, and then you take a shower, and then after the shower maybe you want to deepa hachi puja ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, and then maybe you have a coffee, and then maybe you just read the newspaper, whatever it is. Most of us right now ಎದ್ದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ first phone ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So but let's for example take you first brush your teeth and then you take a shower. Okay, let's assume that this is the sequence. Okay, so if this was live in a classroom, I could have asked people to raise your hands and say how many of you follow this. You first brush your teeth and then you take a shower at that. So I mean, let me just come back to the Zoom screen. I have to ask, so how many of you actually first brush your teeth and then take a shower? Yeah, alright. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಷ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಡು ಯು ಸಿ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೊ ನೋ ಡು ಯು ಥಿಂಕ್ you are really controlling or your body has taken over, right? So the emotional memory has taken over ಅಲ್ಲಿ, because ಅದನ್ನ habitual pattern create ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ I tried this one day. I went to the shower without brushing my teeth and ಸ್ನಾನ ಮುಗಿಸೋತಂಗ patience, I mean ನಂಗೆ peace of mind ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. So something is empty, something is out of order ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So yeah, so that is how we are emotionally primed. So ಮಾಡಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. So one of my mentors, he asked me, Rahul, for the last 5 years, if you have done the same pattern, exactly the same every morning, and you continue to do the same thing every morning from now on for the next 5 years, how different do you think your life is going to be? Okay, last 5 years ಇಂದ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಏನು ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 5 years ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ for a good 10 years I'm exactly the same specimen. I've not changed anyway, So if I really have to get into breakthrough changes in my life, I have to break some patterns. ಹಾಗಂತ ಸ್ನಾನಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬ್ರಷ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೈಸ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಲೋಕ್ ಯಾಕ ಹಿಂಗೆ, ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ನಂಗೆ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ರೆ then I will not really do extraordinary things on another habit. Right? So this aligns with...
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, sure.
Anu wants to say something. Say, Anu.
Please.
Is that because we are hardwired in certain ways and we do it unconsciously the way we do, and we don't want to have a change in life? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, the brain loves comfort zones. The brain loves comfort. So, again, another demonstration I'd like to say. So, I would request all of you to please cross your arms and sit. You're comfortable agi, kaina cross ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. You can lean back, relaxed also, and please cross your arms perfectly lock ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ in such a way that even if you doze off, ನಿಮ್ ಕೈ release ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. Okay, so lock ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. So are you all comfortable now? It's clearly locked, alva. So now couple of you may notice that you have your left arm on the top. Some of you may notice you have the right arm on the top. Okay, comfortable ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so if I can just ask, how many of you have your left arm on the top? Just a sec. Sneha says left.
I had left too.
You have left too. Okay.
Same left.
Yes, even I had left.
I
so
tried right, didn't work, Rahulji.
So all of you just flip it. Flip ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ. If your left is on the top, then right ಮಾಡಿ, right top ಇದ್ರೆ left ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ. ಹೇಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? How are you feeling it? I think Sumaji...
A little discomfort.
Yes. So one small action. As a leadership coach in companies, when people come and ask me, Rahul, ನನ್ನ ಟೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿಯವ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ದಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಒನ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಪಾಸ್ಚರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇ, ಯು ಗೈಸ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಅವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಲೀವ್ ದ ರೂಮ್ ಅಂತ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಕೋತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸೋ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ಡ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಬಲ್. So answer to Anuji is the brain loves comfort zones, right? So a comfort and they also say a familiar discomfort is much better than an unfamiliar comfort for the brain, right? So adikane some people continue to stay in toxic relationships because it is familiar discomfort. Right? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಆ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಂದ ಆಚೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಲೈಫ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ಫೆಮಿಲಿಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೆಮ್, ಸೊ ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಅಟೆನ್ಯೂಯೇಟೆಡ್. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಟ್ಯೂನಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನ್. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಐ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಡ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, Anuji.
Definitely. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. I'm also mindful of time. It's already 7:58 actually. So innu ide, I would want to ask Purnimaji, shall we take a pause here and then take questions?
People, I think we should take questions. It's only 8. I don't know how many need to quit right now.
Yeah, it's a long topic, I think. So
next week also we can continue with that. It's fine
if others are fine with it. So
we are absolutely fine, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let us continue next week also. But today, if you have any questions so far, you can go ahead.
How do we, sorry, Rahulji, I would like to ask. So you talked about these certain behaviors because of the initial wiring of the neurons in childhood.
Yes.
Looking at like the example that you quoted was dealing. I mean, when the child is exposed to someone always being angry. So adon pattern agate, and that kind of extrapolates in all, I mean, outside of the house, everywhere. Correct. As an adult.
Correct.
So one way to overcome it is to be conscious that this is a pattern. Anta, alva? I mean, is that the only way? Or, I mean...
that is step number 1. That is step number 1. So, yeah, absolutely. So... like again, I go back to that sentence, the brain loves familiar discomforts than unfamiliar comforts.
Right.
So it's like when people say one of the objections that I get in behavioral sessions and corporates let's take for example empathy. Please try to be empathetic towards your customers, and our este baidrunu neevu try to be empathetic to what they're trying to communicate ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ some people they say ರಾಹುಲ್ ಅವರೇ ನೀವು ಬಂದು ನನ್ನ ಸೀಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸ ಒಂದ್ ವಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತ ಅವಾಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಲವ್ ದಟ್ ಒಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಷನ್. ನಂಗೆ ಅದು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಫುಲ್ ಜೋಶ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಂಗೆ ಅದು. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ನೌ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ they are not even willing to try. So I would tell you first try ಮಾಡಿ. ನೀವು ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದ್ ನಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ನೀವು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಸಾರಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ for me it's working. Right. So I think if you pause and observe, and I think in the next session we can also discuss how English as a language has actually been counterproductive in our lives. Right. So now ಈಗ ನಂಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದ್ರೆ we say I am angry. I think Prabhuji also mentions this, I guess I read this somewhere also. So we say ಈಗ I am angry ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? How do we translate I am angry? ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ನನಗೆ we can drop actually. ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿದೆ we can say. ನನಗೆ can be dropped.
So ನನಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಟು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್?
Anger has come to me.
Anger has come to me ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ? For me anger has come ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು. So that was not the original sentence.
Correct.
Right? So ಈಗ I am angry ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it should be ನಾನು ಕೋಪ. ನಾನು ಕೋಪ. That doesn't make sense. Right?
Yeah. I think it's more than ನನಗೆ ಕೋಪ, it's ನಾನು ಕೋಪ ಅಲ್ವಾ? I am angry.
ಹೌದು, ನಾನು ಕೋಪ. I am sad ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ದುಃಖ. ಸೊ ನನಗ್ ದುಃಖ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ for me sadness is happening will be the exact translation of ನನಗೆ ದುಃಖ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So English has trained us to become the emotion rather than experiencing the emotion. So Prabhuji also beautifully says, play the role, don't become the role. So English makes us become the role. So if we also pay attention to that, and then I start saying when somebody is criticizing me, I am angry ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಕ್ಕೂ I am experiencing anger ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೂ, aವಾಗ the moment I am when I am dissociating myself from the emotion and say I am experiencing anger, then I can ask the second question, so what do I do about it? Right? So now I am angry and bitter and I don't have a choice now. I have already accepted it. So, but if I say I am experiencing anger, I have tried experimenting this. Nan traffic signal nintiruvaga, there was this day when there was still some 25 seconds in a red signal in a 25, 24, 23 ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. But there's a guy behind me who's honking me and saying, sir, hogi sir, paragilla, hogi sir, and he's honking from behind me. Right? Continuously he was honking. And now I just took a pause. And I said, okay, ನನಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು actually. So I was like, because he was continuously honking. So I paused and actually told this sentence within me that I can see anger getting generated within me. So I'm making it completely separate from who I am. So rather than saying, wonderful, I'm angry right now. Right? So I'm not Rahul anymore. I'm angry now. So Rahul Hodada, I'm anger now. So I can experience anger getting generated within me. So now what do I need to do about it? Do I want to continue this generation or can I put a full stop and ಹೇಳಿ? Then I can choose. It's like, okay, ನಾನು ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ ಬಂದು ಸರಿ ಪಾನಿ ಹೋಗು ಅಂತ ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾನು, or I can just continue to stay there, or I can shout back at him. So my choices come next. So step number 1 is observe what is happening. Keep the emotion away from you. You are not the emotion. So deal with the emotion and not the person. So I think that we can explore further in the next session.
And this insight is something nobody had given a thought, Rahul. Superb.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, especially
language is messing with us anta
yeah, especially English. None of the Indian languages. So Indian languages adike are spiritually evolved anta alle. So eniki desham varundante in Malayalam எனக்கு கோபம் வந்துட்டு இருக்கு. So every language is keeping the emotion and me separate, but English clubs us. So
ಕೋವಮ ಇರ್ಕ is also a usage alva Tamil alli. Avaru ಕೋವಮ ಇರ್ಕ, that's also a usage.
How would you exactly translate that?
You're describing the person.
Our kobam irukku. So our kobam is he is anger. So he is angry is English. Like he is not Rahul, he is angry. So you change the identity of the person. So yeah. So you can see how it changes.
And also you please explore or though easily how the entire world picks up English so easily anta. Cosmic consciousness alidiya.
A collective consciousness, yes. Yeah, it happens, yeah. So
easily they pick up.
Yeah. True.
Without our own volition,
again, it goes back to Winston Churchill's time when he wanted to introduce this particular factory system of education because they wanted factory workers, and he wanted Sanskrit to be deliberately removed and English to be installed there to make it uniform. So
easy to program anta.
Program is yes, in all the wrong possible ways. Thank you so much once again. I was only able to share half of it, so hopefully, if I can get another
time and you have time, you can continue. It's not a problem. People,
I have time.
We have time to. I have
we have time, Rahulji. You can continue.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Also, Rahulji, there is a book called, recently I started reading it, Anxious Generation. How the wire of this Gen Z is being changed because of this small gadget in their hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll check that out. What is the name again, G?
The Anxious Generation.
Anxious Generation. Thank you. Yeah, I'll make a note of that. Sure. So moving next. Let me go. Yeah. So awareness again, karma, neural conditioning again. Awareness as neuroplastic interrupt. So neuroplasticity is also is the ability to plasticity opposite is elasticity. On rubber band and and then if I release it, it will get back to its original state. But plasticity is where if I pull the rubber band and if it remains elongated only, then that is plastic. So the brain is plastic, not the material plastic. That the brain can be remolded and reshaped. Clay tara, I can press it and there will be a lump there, or I can reshape it. So with Anuji's question once again. So if I or Snehaji also, from childhood, if I've been having a certain set of experiences and my mind has become plastic to that this is how life is, I can actually use that plasticity and change that mindset also. Sometimes it will happen through a good conversation, counselors, the help in the agate. A good friend can also help you change. Some incidents will make you change, right? Sometimes medication also will be necessary to make it more plastic. Yeah, Shwetaji, yes, please. I think you had a question.
There are certain things this has worked for me. Okay, so what is that? It's the mindset, whatever we have, that can be changed, that can be conditioned. Because for me, when I was in childhood, I was very stubborn. I would never want to change. So one thing worked on me was my husband told, if you be like this, you are only the one who will get affected. The people around you will not get any effect. They won't get effect or influence. Nothing will happen. Correct. So he handed over a few books for me. Just go through these books. You think. Later on, it's your choice and your decision. So that I have changed so much. Even people who meet me after so many years also, they'll tell, you are not the one who are last, right? That is what, it's my experience. I can say. The neurons in the brain can be changed. It all depends on our mindset.
Absolutely. I think you made the job very easy because you were willing to take it up. You were willing to read those books also. So that willingness is like a problem well stated is half solved. You identified and related to the problem, so half the solution is over there. So how many people are willing to actually even accept that they have this problem and they need to work on it? So that's where
that willingness has to be there.
It has to be there. Yeah. They'll have to wait for a traumatic experience to happen in their life for that behavioral change to happen. So Ali Tanka, if I have to give you the example of Roger Federer, all of us know Roger Federer, one of the
Yeah,
greatest tennis
his
players.
story was there published. I have read this.
So he was known for his anger. He was extremely angry as a youngster before he reached the top 10 in the world. So on one point, mistake madadandre, he would destroy his racket. He would beat it on the ground and put him on racket now. No? And his coach used to continuously tell him that if you want to get to the top, you have to let go of this anger of yours and continuously head on there. But he didn't really pay much heed to it. And there's one particular day when his coach met with an accident and he died on the spot, it seems. So, and his coach meant a lot to him, apparently. He respected him a lot. So the day he passed away is when he actually really internalized that message and said, as a respect to his departed soul, I'm going to give up my anger from today. And he made a choice. And after that, you can't see him getting angry on the stage. It's the, I mean, of course, if he makes a mistake, he will shout, but you can still see him smiling. Right? When was the last time you saw Roger Federer break the racket and the pieces smarter than a? You wouldn't see that now. You can watch especially the last 10 years of him being in the top. He's not ruthless on the court anymore. He's very kind, very smiling, very calm on the court now, right? So sometimes some traumatic incidents need to happen. Sometimes one story can change people's lives. One video can change a person's mindset. A movie can change a person's mindset. Yeah, different people respond differently. But it is changeable. Well, only when it becomes a psychiatric condition, when the neurons have plasticized beyond repair, aವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ schizophrenia ತರ ಆಗಲಿ or some extreme cases of OCD ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಮೆಡಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. If not, if it's still within the so you have the psychological cases and you have psychiatric cases. Psychological cases are within the mind. Psychiatric cases are in the domain of medicine. So as long as it is psychological, it is changeable. So I've been counseling for the last 16 years now. So psychological adre change madbo. The moment I get to know that this case is psychiatric, then I refer the person to a psychiatric friend of mine. So yeah, so answer to your question. Yeah, right. So again, the point here, awareness doesn't erase the memory, but it changes how memory acts. So ನಾನು ಕೋಪ ಬರೋದು ನಂಗೇನು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ನೋ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ನಾನು ಯಾರೋ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಕೋಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ರೀಕಂಡೀಷನಿಂಗ್, my choice of how I'm going to react to it has changed. So that is what I share in the sessions also. Right. Next, moving into let me go. Yeah, I think I've mentioned the same thing here, right? Same traffic situation. You feel the anger rise. You notice anger is here. I'm experiencing anger, instead of becoming angry and saying I am angry, right? So you breathe, ease off the accelerator and let it pass. So one quick exercise, if all of you are willing to do, for you to hit the pause button, right? Anger or upset, maybe see the negative. We have 5 basic emotions, which are love, joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. Right, I'll repeat that: love, joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. If 5 emotions matrane nammallirodu, anything else is a feeling. Right? For example, if I say I'm irritated, then that it is a manifestation of anger. I'm feeling frustrated, and it's anger. I'm feeling tensed, and it is a manifestation of fear. Right? I'm feeling anxious about what may happen, and it is a manifestation of fear. Right? I'm feeling let down. It is a manifestation of sadness. Right? So either the 5 fundamental emotions matrane: love, joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. Now, anger, sorrow, and fear are the 3 so-called negative emotions which cause a disturbance within us. Right? So, ee mooru nannalli bara sandarbhadalli, there is a small thing that you can do through which you can hit the pause button, and you don't say I am angry or I am scared or I am sad. Rather, you will get the option to say, I am experiencing anger, I am experiencing fear, and I am experiencing sadness. Okay, if you are all willing to do so, this small technique called as Q-file. It's called QFILE, which stands for quick, full inhale, long exhale. Okay. Of course, regular again, pranayama madodu, all of these things will help us, but I am talking about on the spot, something that we can do. It's called quick, full inhale and a long exhale. So quick, full inhale anvaga, I have to fill up my lungs instantaneously as quickly as possible. So I'm not taking my sweet time, but on the quick full inhale, and then you take your own sweet time to exhale, probably like 10 seconds or 15 seconds to exhale. Okay, if all of you can just maybe give it a shot, just try it right now. You can have your eyes closed if you want to. Just a quick, very quick full inhale. No. Slowly as possible, you try to do this. Okay, and if try to do it maybe 3 rounds. I see anybody on video, so I'm assuming you're doing it. Madi nodi. And if you try to do, if you can let me know if once you do it 3 times, maybe with a raise of hand, just say done. Okay, quick full inhale, long exhale. Or quick full inhale, long exhale. Or quick full inhale, long exhale. Yeah. Sneha ji says you're done. You're done. So if you're done, can you tell me that while you were doing it, were you able to think about ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಅಡಿಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಮನೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನ, ಯಾರೋ ನೆಂಟರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ. Because
Everything
this
is
is a
gone.
new thing, ಅಲ್ಲ? I mean, it's a new exercise.
It's a new exercise, yeah. But every time you do this, you can even experiment this. ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಸಬ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ನಾನು ಈ ಅಡಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇದನ್ನ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗಾಗಲ್ಲ. Okay, your brain hits the pause button. So the emotion generation or even the the processing will hit the pause button. You can't think at that point of time. You're actually consciousness at that point of time, right? So technically speaking, you're in the turiya sthiti. You're not even being the awareness, right? So you're just experiencing that breathing happening there. And it will last only for that micro fractions of seconds sustainably, but you can make it a habit by doing this continuously, at least maybe thrice a day or 4 times a day at different intervals. Once ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಸಂಜೆ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ you can slowly start noticing that you're dissociating from your emotions. So you won't be English language anymore. You won't be angry. You will experience anger. So yeah, this is quick fix on the spot.
Nice.
Does the thoughts comes down?
Sorry, Ji?
Will the thoughts reduce by doing this?
Yes, at that moment, the thought processing will stop. So, I'm slowly opposite medita. So, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ continuous practice ಮಾಡಿ, of course, you couple it with pranayama and other things in your regular practice, you will be able to just completely observe the screen and not become that screen. So, like Prabhuji says, yeah. So, yeah, at least at that moment, your thought processing will stop instantly. Okay, so let's move ahead. So karma is inherited tendency. Again, this is genetics. I spoke about it initially also. Things like your temperamental biases, the way you laugh, the way you walk, most of it is carried forward from your parents, including, if you notice the way you say hello, as soon as you pick up the phone, you will see either your father or your mother is there in that hello. Right? Or somebody who really influenced you in your life. The way you respond to stress, right? Impulsivity or inhibition thresholds, all of those. How long you can control your anger. Idella now parents, ancestors, grandparents, now. Emotional reactivity ranges, right? So these are not destinies, but rather they are probabilistic predispositions. So genetics are starting conditions, but not the final outcomes. So just because my parents or nan khandanali they were known to be angry people, it doesn't mean that I will also end up being an angry person. I can still change it. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the tendency of me getting that, it's something like diabetes, right? So 5 generations ಮುಂಚೆಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ diabetes ಇದ್ರೆ I have the tendency to get diabetes, but if I live a conscious lifestyle, I can prevent it. So the last sentence really, I found it beautiful. It's you don't choose the cards you're dealt. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಗೇಮ್ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ರಮ್ಮಿನ ಅಥವಾ ಪೋಕರ್ ಏನೋ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, so you didn't choose the cards that came to you, but awareness influences how they are played, right? So that is what we will have to practice as spiritual sadhaks. So let's go further. Epigenetics, another. This is karma across generations. So genetics could, if you consider it as immediately from your immediate parents, epigenetics is across generations, right? So, like I remember, if you can see in practical examples, really, a grandparent lives through famine or war. So because of that traumatic experience, their genetically, there's a recoding that happens to survive that famine or war, right? So stress regulation genes become hypersensitive, tumba sensitive or it becomes very active, stress regulation genes. And thereby their grandchildren, they show heightened anxiety despite a safe life. ಅವ್ರ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿನ್ ವಾರ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ದ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈಪರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಡೇಂಜರ್ ಆಗತ್ತಾ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಹಿಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಅವರಲ್ಲೂ ಅದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತದು. ಸೊ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅ ಬಯೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಮೆಮರಿ, ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಸೈಕಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಮೆಮರಿ. ಸೊ awareness can reverse epigenetic momentum. So we discussed this a lot. So mindfulness, ugly psychotherapy, and complete environmental change or a relational safety. This is when your environment is also educated. That is, people living with you are also educated on how to treat you. Then the behavior can change. So even inherited karma is modifiable. Is the moral of the story. So let's come to this part. Yeah. Awareness is what allows memory to stop blindly becoming action. I like to come to this sentence again. So how do I even start that? This quick full inhale, long exhale can be a practical way for you to quickly stop it. Practice ಮಾಡ್ತಾ it will become second nature to you. ನೀವು ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, you will start observing the emotion as a separate thing. So eitherly in this model, no awareness illa andre, the no consideration for dharma, the karma repeats. Partial awareness idre karma softens, sustained awareness idre karma dissolves into choice. I would like to explain this further munde when we discuss about Dasharatha's example, right? So let me come to this. Yeah, coming to Purnimaji's the shloka that she left us with in the last session. So prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma kartaham iti manyate. So really, the meaning again is all actions are performed in every way by the gunas of prakriti, right? So we just realized that how much our body is in control, right? So we think that I am actually doing this, including the posture in which you're sitting. Even right now, you didn't choose, your body chose, right? So in fact, I would strongly recommend this particular series nan munche avella mention madide ansute, called Cosmos, done Tyson anta, one of the most famous astrophysicists right now. So he's made a beautiful documentary. It's a 2-season documentary called Cosmos anta. So right from the Big Bang in the right, Eva Tanka, what all has happened in evolution, he has explained it beautifully with a lot of animations and stuff. So really, if I have to give this particular example and wind it for today, see, now we all have eyes. So how did the eyes come into place? Why are the eyes there? And then now if we have to start contemplating, you take for we all evolved from the amoeba. Now we've all learned from science that we have evolved from the amoeba. All of you've read that. You've all known what, or at least images nodi there are school textbook ali amoeba.
Yes.
So now amoeba is the photo of an amoeba that we've seen in the textbook is a 2D image. It's just one cross section. Amoeba doesn't look like that. I mean, that is the inside of an amoeba. So imagine amoeba to be a sasve kalu. So it is a sphere. It is a spherical, shapeless, not spherical, but it is a shapeless globule tarado. It is like one bubble tarado. Adin cut madi one slice nodre is what we have seen in our textbooks. Okay. So outside layer is full skin, the cell wall. You can't see all those cell parts you can't see outside the amoeba. Only when you cut it into a slice is what you can see, what the textbook showed us. So it is a complete cell wall outside. So we all, you and me today, we have evolved from that amoeba. Okay. So as on the single cellular organism called an amoeba, and then now we have become a human being which has eyes and nose and tongue. So so at least when they say like a snake came from a lizard, ಈ Komodo dragon ಆತರ ಒಂದು animal ಇಂತ ಬಂತು ಅಂತ, the Komodo dragon was fully evolved for its species. And eventually the snakes, the Komodo dragon used to glide through the grass to hunt, and it didn't want to use its legs when it is gliding through the grass. Eventually ಆ ಕಾಲುಗಳ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ slowly the legs started becoming shorter and shorter and shorter, and eventually the legs disappeared, and that's how we are left with snakes today. That's one theory of evolution. But now imagine a single-celled organism like an amoeba becoming a human being today, right? So now how did the eyes, I'm only taking the consideration for the eyes, okay? So a single-celled organism, if you have to consider that to be a ball, okay, one ball tara consider madi. And the skin, with the moment it goes, touches a microbe, a small, micro-celled organism, which it is going to eat, as the skin hoge then mutte takshana, the skin wanted to take it inside, so the skin ruptures. The skin of the amoeba, it ruptures the skin. Rather than skin, I'll say the cell wall. Okay, the cell wall break agi a food particle na olgade tagondu, then it closes and it digests that food particle, that microorganism, and it grows. Okay. Next, the same thing keeps repeating. So the next food particle comes there, a skin touch agate, and then it ruptures the cell wall, it enters in and it grows, right? And then it starts dividing and multiplying. Hange multicellular agte shuru aitu. Now, one particular portion of the skin started getting more sensitive to feeling this microorganism which it is going to eat. Okay. So only more cells came and started piling up there to make it more sensitive. Okay. And then eventually, so by the way, all the amoeba, they lived only in the oceans. Right? Life started in water, alva. ನಮಗೆ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಕೂರ್ಮ ವರಾಹ ವಾಮನ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ದಶಾವತಾರ ಇರೋದು, it's depictive of Charles Darwin's evolution only. First was aquatic life, and then it became amphibians, kurma, half in the earth, half in water and half on land. So kurma. Then you have varaha vamana, half man, half animal like simha. So that's evolution there. So amoeba, which was an aquatic being, most of the microorganisms, it used to start coming wherever the sun rays were falling. Light elli beeltata neer mele, and sun rays ನೀವು National Geographic alla nodirbodu ನೀವು. So when they are showing from underwater, and when the sun rays are falling from the sky and it is entering the water, that portion of the ocean is lit up with this light. Only you have these microorganisms living there because they survive on light. So these amoeba used to float towards that light, right? Light, because it knew that those microorganisms are there, so I can eat them there and there. So one part of the skin of the amoeba, the cell wall, started becoming very sensitive to light also. And light kadege, it started moving and moving towards the light. So because it knew the food is available there. And slowly it started improving the cell structure of that portion of the cell wall, which is sensitive to light. Adina concentrated agi, it eventually became the pupil. Okay, so the pupil, what we have, is sensitive to light. Alva. So if you notice, even in an embryo, on magu, the moment the sperm and the ovum, they fuse, and when the embryo starts getting structured, when you see the images, first thing that comes is the vertebral column, and next you can see the black dots, which are the eyes. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬ್ರೈನ್, ನೋಸ್, ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೋದು. ಕಣ್ಣು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ that portion of the skin is getting sensitive to light and the eyes are getting structured, right? So you can see how beautifully from a single cellular organism like an amoeba, we have evolved today. So now getting back to this shloka here, did I control the eye getting structured there? Did I control the nose getting evolutionally nose bandid nan control madidna anta question kelta hodre, nothing in the entire process of evolution was controlled by me. I didn't design my nose, I didn't design my eyes, my ears, or anything in my body. I didn't design, right? And all of these things are happening by itself. Now the amoeba didn't have awareness ಓ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸೊ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಅದು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಿ. ದ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಸಚ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, the protons, neutrons, and electrons in its body were in such a structure that it got attracted to light. Okay, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜರ್ನಿನ. ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಅಮೀಬಾ ಇಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ನಾವು ಇವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿ 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 ಈ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೌ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಕೋ ಅಡ್ಯಾಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸರ್ವೈವ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಇವಾಲ್ವ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಟಿಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ I am the one who is responding to the environment. So, but the one whose intellect is deluded by ego, like this sentence says here, all actions are performed in every way by the gunas of Prakriti. What are the gunas? The gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas. So, the sattva guna of the amoeba's cell wall, the tamo guna of the amoeba's cell wall, and the rajo guna of the amoeba's cell wall got it to evolve into different species. Amoeba in the tadpole ತರ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Then it became a fish. Then it became a turtle. Machakurma Vamana. Vamana by the way is like pygmies, the dwarf men who are still evolving. The signs, if you remember biologically, you had this Ramapithecus, Australopithecus, antala heli. We had different phases of the monkey evolving. So Vamana was a dwarf human being, which was like the Ramapithecus. And then by the time it came to Rama, somebody who had the Dharma, only Dharma, the Dharma atra follow madu anta. But adu nadiliಲ್ಲ. It didn't really create favorable outcomes. Rama had to suffer a lot because he was a strict follower of Dharma. But in the next evolution, when Krishna came, he got evolved to deal with politics also. And ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ತರ ಧರ್ಮ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ ಟು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ದ ಕಾಸ್ಮಿಕ್ ಇಕ್ವಿಲಿಬ್ರಿಯಂ ಅನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಟು ರಾಮ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ has been happening. But in all this process, it is my body and mind and intellect which is actually evolving, and I am not really doing anything here. So the ego thinks that I am the doer, which is not the case, Salva. So then comes the question: if I am not the doer, then who is the doer? Who does? So Prakriti Kriyamanani is the shloka itself says Prakriti or nature is the doer. So what is the nature within me? The nature within me is all these cells that I am comprised of, all the genes and hormones that I am comprised of. Like it says here, Prakriti is the body, mind, nervous system, hormones, senses, and the conditioning. I am speaking in terms of biology and neuroscience. So as per bhagavadgita shloka, Prakriti is body, mind, nervous system, hormones, senses, and conditioning. They are so beautifully structured that they operate by themselves based on the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva being clarity and harmony, rajas being action and desire, and tamas being inertia or ignorance. So all thoughts, impulses, emotions, and actions arise from the dynamic interplay of these gunas. It is happening by itself. If you can pause and in a meditative state with that paused mind, if you can really observe that, we really will realize how much we are not doing things. Right? So, in fact, I would like to share a video in a group I'll share ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು Dharma Kshetra group ಅಲ್ಲಿ, how they have shown scientifically that your decision to make an action, to do an action, has happened even before you can think about it. So it says before you decide to act, the neural activity has already begun, and the sense of I choose comes after the action has been initiated. So ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನನ್ನ ಬಾಡಿ ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಇದೆ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ದಟ್ ವಿತ್ all of you. I think that will sort of give us a clear scientific understanding of this particular shloka, that I am not the doer, the body takes over. So I think with that, I'd like to take a pause and end for the day. So any thoughts or questions, please feel free. Thank you so much for staying back. Artha gante extra thonideni. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, any questions or thoughts, please.
Yeah, like you have given a clear picture of how completely outside of whatever is me, all these actions. So that helps a lot in self correction go help ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರೋ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 3 ಕರ್ಮ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ರಾಹುಲ್, ರಿಯಲಿ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್.
Thank you so much to all of you. Thanks to all the Atmajyotis here. Thanks Purnimaji. Thanks to Prabhuji for all the awareness. Thank you so much. My pleasure to spend time with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul ji. As
Thank
usual,
you.
you're very, I mean, personally, you've made me aware of many things I didn't know. Even in your music workshop, I mean, I've been, I can vouch for Rahulji's tips. I think they'll go a long way. I'm sure this. What is the acronym? Q file, right?
Q file. Quick, full inhale, long exhale. Yeah.
Yes, I'm. I mean, I hope to practice it and also spread word.
Sure, please. Sure.
Yes, thank you. I think in the next session, coming Saturday, I would like to share a personal experience that has sort of helped me overcome my childhood impressions.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you. I would like. I mean, if you can connect that to. A new the science. I mean, scientifically, if you can connect that would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, do we continue this session? Idya Dashrata ಏನನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ. So, we continue with your presentation, or we will be part of our Bhagavad Gita discussion?
I think next session, 10 minutes in the beginning, if we can have, we can just discuss that.
All right.
I have something called the karma matrix. How really karma really functions. Another explain. I don't want to extend too much. It's already 37 minutes beyond. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mindful of time. But other than karma matrix and action, intention, different it works, the combinations and that. So maybe with Purnimaji's permission, next session, if I can have.
Yes, of course, we can start with that. Yeah. Let's do that.
10 minutes would be sufficient.
All right. Okay. Can you also tell the closing prayers? So I'll close the recording.
Sure. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ शान्तिः. सहना भवतु, सहनो भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्तिः. असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ॐ शान्तिः. नानु नानिम्बुदनानल्ल, ಈ ದೇಹಮನಬುದ್ಧಿನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವನಾನುನಾನೆ. ಓಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ. ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು. ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you all. See you all next Saturday at 7.
Yes.
And we'll start with some more of Rahul's presentation and they can carry on. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Good weekend to you all.
Thank you, Rahul, and thank you,
Thank you.
Purnimaji. Thank you all. We had a